could have known that extra love could add extra pounds? That all those accidents could have a medical explanation? Or that the smallest changes could make the biggest impact? You did, and so did we. That's why Hill's always with the pet's biology to anticipate their ever-changing nutritional needs. Preferences, see, feel, and trust. So you're always a step ahead.
Welcome to Stegman Coliseum in Athens, Georgia, where the Georgia Lady Bulldogs go for a 5-0 season start as they welcome in the 2-0 Jacksonville State Gamecocks from the Ohio Valley Conference. And good evening, I'm Matt Stewart, joined by Coach Christy Thomas-Cuddy here in a socially distanced Stegman Coliseum and from a different vantage point as well. But all of that aside, as my mask is falling down, we'll have to get accustomed to all this. This is basketball, by the way, in 2020. All of that aside, this Lady Bulldogs team is off to their best start in 3 years when they won 26 games and finished second in the SEC.
Well, I think the common denominator is experience. You've got 4 graduate seniors in the starting lineup. And what that says is that Joni Taylor, through all the chaos of COVID and everything else, could just focus on the X's and O's.
Well, one of those leaders is Jenna Stady, leads the team in scoring, rebounding, and block shots. And she's going to be problematic for the Gamecocks tonight.
Well, Jenna Stady is in the best shape of her collegiate career. Her coach says she's effective in minutes as well as shots. What I see out of Jenna Stady is confidence. She is building off where she ended this year. Over her last 13 games, she is scoring in double figures. She is averaging 16 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game. The Gamecocks are gonna have to figure out a way to slow down Jenna Stady if they're gonna get a W tonight.
Meantime, 5'11" junior guard Yamaya Johnson has led the way for the Gamecocks in their 2-0 start. They've already had some COVID issues in their scheduling, but she's averaging 14.5 points per game.
Well, from the moment Yamaya Johnson stepped on campus, the coaching staff had high expectations for her. Unfortunately, as a freshman and as a sophomore, she had early season concussions, which forced her into a catch-up mode. She is playing the best basketball of her career because she's been healthy and hasn't missed a beat.
And we are underway in Athens. The Lady Bulldogs in their home white and on offense. Q Morrison off to a great start this season, had the ball at the top. She's averaging 12 points per game.
Well, and Matt, expect to see man-to-man from both of these ball clubs. And the key for Jacksonville is, can they defend UGA off the bounce and defend the paint points?
Maya Caldwell gets the first basket of the ball game, 30 seconds in, and Georgia on top 2-0. That's Yamaya Johnson out on the wing. Goes inside. Kuimi had it knocked away, and the Lady Bulldogs forced their first turnover of the night. Georgia nearly turns it over in the half court. Instead, they recover, and Jordan Isaacs puts it in. And 1 minute into the game, Lady Bulldogs have a 4-0 lead.
Well, a key for UGA tonight is, can the bigs of UGA defend the Gamecocks on the perimeter? Jessie Day stepping out, has 3-point range. Every player on the floor can shoot the 3.
Day, who had 11 rebounds in their last ball game, a transfer from Troy, gets their first basket.
And you're talking about a Jacksonville State team that has shot so many threes and knocked them down this early point in the season. UGA is going to have to run them off, and as we saw Day do, they're going to have to be able to hit that pull-up jumper.
10 on the shot clock. Now down to 7 inside to Stady, and a double team. Stady misses the shot, and the rebound controlled by the Gamecocks with 8:15 left in the first quarter.
And that's a win for the Gamecocks if they can force the Lady Bulldogs deep into the shot clock, because this season, Georgia wants to get out and run.
That's the senior guard, Taylor Hawks, out of Gainesville, Georgia High School. In normal circumstances, she'd have a lot of family here tonight.
I'm sure it doesn't matter to her family or not. She's here to get a W in her home state.
Game Gamecocks come down the floor, a chance to take the lead with 7:43 to play in the quarter.
And you're seeing Jacksonville State, a dribble drive offense. They can bring everyone out of the paint, or at least four. Unfortunately, Kuimi couldn't get the putback.
Winnie Kuimi has really blossomed this year. The miss by Conley on the drive. And the drive by the Gamecocks and the layup miss, and Day got the rebound. Johnson takes the three and hits it. They'll take a lot of three-point shots. They'll just keep shooting it, and they have the early lead 7-4. Jacksonville State leading with 7:08 to play in the quarter.
And if you're a Jacksonville State fan, you have to be ecstatic of what you've seen so far, because they're beating UGA on the glass this early point in the game. That was an area I thought UGA would have the advantage, but the Gamecocks have come out and attacked it so far.
Traveling call on Jesse Day. Head coach for the Gamecocks, Rick Petrie, in his 8th season, 106 and 104 his record. Overall, 21 seasons with 326 victories. He was the head coach at South Alabama prior to Jacksonville State.
And I have known Rick Petrie since I was a young coach. He's a great teacher of the game. Not surprising at all what he's done here at Jacksonville State. Watching their shoot around today, very efficient team, got a lot of shots up, and we're very dialed in to the scout.
Lady Bulldogs have started 2 of 6 from the floor, and that's their first three-point attempt, and they bury it. And Q Morrison now 5 for 11 on her threes to start the season. Georgia and Jacksonville State tied at 7 with 6:30 to play in the quarter.
It's nice just to see Q Morrison healthy. Had a full preseason since the shoulder surgery ended her season a year ago. And she's playing just at an all-time high in terms of confidence, as well as showing her true versatility on the floor.
That was Hawks with the basket. It's her second of the night, as she has started 2 of 3 from the floor with a couple of rebounds and 4 points. They're Caldwell, bounce off back iron. Lady Bulldogs 3 of 9 to start the game, as we take a look at the starting lineup for Jacksonville State. Hawks, Johnson and Johnson, Day and Kuimi. Coach Rick Petrie electing to go bigger against this Lady Bulldogs team. And Gabby Conley with her first basket of the game.
And Matt, that's the second time there's been a little bit of flubbing on the pass, or just not clean passes, but UGA's been able to bring it in and still finish the play. Something to watch this season is UGA wants to play faster. They worked the entire preseason on their fast break. Shot clock of only 8 or 15 seconds. And so to this point, I think Jacksonville State's done a great job in their transition defense.
First foul of the ball game is called on Gabby Conley. And Joni Taylor off to a good start here, as we mentioned, in her 6th season now, 101 and 58 her record. Gabby Conley will bring it up the floor for the Lady Bulldogs as you take a look at the starting 5 for Georgia. Conley, Caldwell, Morrison, Isaacs, and Stady. And that's Caldwell who takes the 3. And the 3 bucket by Kiara Griffin.
And so already a quick substitution with Jacksonville State, bringing Kiara Griffin off the bench. She's another one that can shoot the 3, so it just puts more pressure on the UGA bigs.
Back door, and Morrison gets her second bucket. One-point lead, Jacksonville State.
And so now for Jacksonville State, you're seeing truly 5 players out and away from the basket.
Because they're not bashful about shooting the 3 as Day launches another. That's her second 3-point attempt. They're 2 of 5 already in the game on the 3.
But when you have 5 players around the arc, that's going to prevent you from offensive rebounding. However, they sprinted back to stop UGA in transition.
Foul called on Jacksonville State. We've reached our first timeout with the Gamecocks on top by 1.
Everything you need to make the holidays feel magical with a little help from HP. When you buy any HP Envy printer this holiday season, get 3 months of free access to Canva Pro and 3 months of free instant ink. Now through January 15th, happy crafting.
No matter the neighborhood, you'll always have that neighbor. the one who has everything except humility. Show up the show off. Do you need power or this optimum power? Because Duracell Optimum makes this RC truck even faster than Copper Top.
We have a winner!
Woo!
Upgrade your device with Duracell Optimum.
Teams, 2 semifinals. New Year's Day, the college football playoff lives on ESPN.
And hard to believe the college football playoff is coming up so soon as you take a look at the Lady Bulldogs socially distanced huddle. This is basketball in 2020, 2021. And this is the way it's going to be. And Joni Taylor says, look, I'm not one of those coaches who wakes up at 5 a.m. to check my email to see the latest testing results. I'm confident in what we're doing, and I'm confident that if we have to pivot and change, we can. But I'm not going to let other things control me. We're going to control what we can control.
Well, I think that's a little bit of who Joni Taylor is in a nutshell, but I think it's also they've had no issues. And what do I attribute that to? Is a veteran ball club. We've talked about the senior leadership, and when you have seniors who can take care of the younger players off the court, create their own bubble, yeah, Joni Taylor can truly just focus it on her X's and O's and get some really quality sleep at night.
And here's a look at the NCAA D1 scheduling COVID protocols. No exhibitions or scrimmages to be played. And Coach Rick Petrie said that impacted his team a little bit. Teams can play no more than 27 regular season games. And council recommended a minimum of 4 non-conference games. So in all those situations, things are totally different.
Absolutely, and again, this is where you got to feel like UGA has an advantage when you have the veterans. They already know the offensive system. Although, I'll say it again, UGA changed it, trying to play quicker this year. And I love what Taylor said. Before we played Mercer, we put in a new defense just 5 days before. But that's the advantage when you have a veteran ball club. They can pick things up. They don't overthink. They just get out there and play.
So Georgia down 1 as we come out of the timeout. And the miss by Caldwell. So the Lady Bulldogs, who have shot the ball fairly well this season, are off to a 5-12 start, 5 of 12 start here tonight.
Give Jacksonville State credit for that. They went through so many of UGA's sets as well as their transition and out of bounds plays today. And that last out of bounds play, they were assignment specific and took it away from UGA.
There you see a look at Javin Nicholson, and they're expecting big things from her. She's already averaging more than 8 points or 8 minutes per game, more than 5 points per game, more than 2 rebounds per game, and she's in a lot better shape than she was when she came in as a freshman. Not unusual, but she slimmed down 20 pounds.
Well, I always have said that the 2 hardest positions to transition into college are the point guard and the post. The physical nature of the post play, the help side, the rotations. And so some of that is Javin Nicholson just having the experience under her belt. But I agree. I think that she's in much better shape, allows her just to get up and down the court, because when you get fatigued, the mind's the first to go. And you're seeing Javin's just natural talent come out this season.
Foul's going to be called on Jacksonville State. Kennedy Gavin is called for the foul. First team foul on the Gamecocks. And Georgia's still down a point with 3.5 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Georgia still having trouble with their shot here tonight. And oftentimes when you talk to the coach, keys to the game, they always, almost all of them always say, you got to shoot the ball well. It's kind of a no-brainer, but in this case, in Georgia's case, they're not shooting the ball that well to start this game.
Yeah, and again, I think Jacksonville State, player for player, is as fast as any team that UGA has played to this point. So some of it is just getting settled in. They've got to do UGA, that is, has to do a better job executing, but give Jacksonville State credit so far, because they have been there on the catch when UGA has caught the ball.
Mallory Bates, reverse layup, and Georgia on top.
But Matt, you can be there on the catch, but when 6'2" is going to take it for a reverse layup, there's not much you can do.
the dribble drive and the basket by Hawks, her third of the game.
Well, when you can make some outside shots, when you have the rest of your team out at the three, it creates dribble penetration lane, and Hawks is taking advantage right now.
Nicely done right there. The feed from Bates and the basket by Nicholson. And knocked out of bounds and off the hands of the Gamecocks.
Well, credit Michaela Coombs for shooting the gap there, and then it unfortunately went off the Gamecock player's hand. But that's the defense that UGA is playing this season. I feel like they are pressuring the opponents into more turnovers. They've been able to score off of those turnovers already to this point in the season, 21 points a game off of opponents' turnovers.
And Michaela Coombs, number 4, who's on the dribble right now, she is lightning fast. Transfer from UConn, but she is a Georgia native. She was the player of the year in this state coming out of Wesleyan in 2017 and actually played 56 games with the Huskies.
And Joni Taylor said Coombs just has experience at that high level, playing for Gino Auriemma and UConn for that season. But what I love about Coombs coming off the bench is it's almost like that jab, jab, jab as a boxer, and then Coombs is that uppercut just to try to knock you out because of her speed.
Inside Bates. With a quick flurry of baskets there, Georgia went from 38 to 50% shooting until that miss right there. The miss by Griffin. Conley coming off a huge performance against Oklahoma in the SEC Big 8 Challenge, or Big 12 Challenge, I should call it. Big 8's a few years past, but the Big 12. And the SEC did very well, won 7 of the 8 games this year.
Right, there's just something with Gabby Conley when she plays those Texas and Oklahoma schools, wouldn't you say?
Something about it for the San Antonio native. Final 22 seconds of the quarter. Georgia on top by 4. There's a difference of 3 seconds in the game clock and the shot clock. Griffin barely nudged the iron. That's actually Griffin underneath. That was Hawks on the miss. And with 5 seconds, Georgia can get off a final shot here. Combs off glass. Michaela Coombs with the last second basket. Georgia finishes the quarter on a 7-0 run. And after trailing for a good part of the quarter, they take a 20-14 lead to the second quarter.
Who could have known that extra love could add extra pounds? That all those accidents could have a medical explanation? Or that the smallest changes could make the biggest impact? You did. And so did we. That's why Hills always starts with a pet's biology to anticipate their ever-changing nutritional needs for differences you can see, feel, and trust. So you're always a step ahead.
To show up the show-off, do you need power or this? Optimum power. Because Duracell Optimum makes this RC truck even faster than Copper Top.
No! We have a winner!
In attendance here as the Lady Bulldogs of Jacksonville 20-14 head to the second quarter. Matt Stewart along with Coach Christy Thomas-Cuddy, and a great flurry finish for the Lady Bulldogs to wrap up that first quarter.
Well, and this was a point of emphasis for Joni Taylor this season. She wanted her team to start better in the first quarter. And what we've seen is when you bring quality players off the bench, that scoring productivity increases. Michaela Coombs is just energy off the bench for UGA, as we saw a huge basket as time expired in that first quarter.
Yeah, she played 56 games for UConn in her 2 seasons there, but not in the role that she's going to be asked to fill here at Georgia. And it's really been until these now 5 games. She had gone 20 months without playing women's college basketball in a game.
Well, Matt, I covered a couple of her games when she was at UConn, and what I see from Michaela Coombs now is a much more confident offensive player. I think her shot has improved. And I can't say this enough, confidence is so much about this game. And that's one thing with UGA out and running, they don't have to think. That's what this system's about in transition. She says when we're not in the transitions, when we start making some mistakes, as we see UGA out and running to start the quarter.
And Coombs now gets an and one opportunity right here on the blocking foul called against Jacksonville State.
Well, Jacksonville State knew they had to run as fast as they can. The key is, can you run as fast as Michaela Coombs? That time she gets out wide, gets the outlet pass, and kisses it off the glass.
In fact, those were the exact words of Coach Petrie to his team this week. It's like, it is going to be so important for you to get down the floor as fast as you can on defense.
Well, Matt, as fast as I can, I don't even think I'd be at the free throw line. This end of the free throw line. And so it's a matter, I think, at the end of that first quarter, we started seeing a little bit of fatigue from Jacksonville State. Shots coming up a little bit shorter. And so that's going to be the key. Can they continue to knock down that mid-range jumper to basically stay in this game against UGA?
You see Sarah Ashley Barker in the ball game. And they really feel like she's going to be something special. The freshman out of Spain Park High School there in Birmingham.
Well, you're talking about Miss Alabama out of this state, and just a tremendous athlete. I've been very impressed with her basketball IQ, very selfless. If you watch the Georgia Tech game, this young lady had struggled with her shot throughout the game, but she had the confidence, the poise to knock down what I felt like was the turning point in overtime for UGA to come out on top.
Well, Joni Taylor loves her intensity, says she plays like she's spitting fire out of her eyes. Left-handed layup. Jayla Walker with the basket.
And we can talk about UGA's bench, but Jacksonville State's got a quality bench as well, bringing almost 12 players a game, or putting almost 12 players a game into action.
Day had it stripped away. Conley in the corner for three. Lady Bulldogs now 2 of 4 in their three-point shot in this game.
And Matt, what we're seeing right now on the floor is Conley's got the ball at the point right now, but both Coombs and Sarah Ashley Barker have also played the point. So it just makes that transition so much faster.
They've even had 4 players. Q Morrison has also played some point guard for Georgia as well in the first 4 games of the season. And that was one of the things that Joni Taylor went to Q Morrison in the offseason and said, look, we're going to put the ball in your hands some this year. And she was like, wait, no way. She said, look, if you have aspirations of playing professional basketball, and I think you do, you're going to have to learn to play with the ball in your hands. Well, here's some of the numbers for Georgia through their first 4 games of the season. As we mentioned, best start in 3 years. Played their first 3 games on the road. And this is the extraordinary stat. 53 different lineups during those 4 games.
And Matt, the crazy part is Chloe Chapman has yet to see the court for this season as she comes back from the soccer season. And so that's one thing that Joni Taylor said it's been a blessing. She's got versatility amongst her players, but she's got balance. And, you know, I think it takes a lot of pressure off of, say, someone like Gabby Connolly, that if she's not hitting her shot, she can relax because she's got other players on the court who can also score.
And Joni said with Gabby, I mean, that's been an issue for her the last couple of years. She carried the weight of the team, the offensive responsibility on her shoulder, and sometimes even more than she needed to. She felt like it was all on her. That kind of pressure does not exist or should not exist this year as Coombs takes the shot and Stady in off the bench couldn't get the rebound. Kouimi got it instead. Now, Winnie Kouimi has gone from playing 15 games last year as a freshman and not very much to being an integral part of their plans here in her sophomore season.
Well, I mean, I just feel like the OVC should be worn. Like, I feel like this is a very different team than what we've seen in the past from them. There's some experience. You've got shooters. You've got the ability to create off the bounce as Sarah Ashley Barker kisses it off in transition. But I think as the post play develops for Jacksonville State, this team's only going to get better and better to get that inside-out balance.
I love Barker attacking the basket right there. Looked like a veteran going at it. Stady snags the rebound. That's 3 for her now. Contact, blocking foul, going to be on Day. No, not Day. Pardon me, it's number 5, Thompson.
With the freshman Sarah Ashler Barker just sizes up the defender, uses a little bit of contact, and then elevates. That's one thing that I think her frame allows her to see over defenders, elevate over defenders, as we saw her kiss it off the glass.
Number 0, Zoisha Smith has checked into the ball game for the first time for Georgia. Nearly stolen by Morrison, and the basket by Hawks. That's 8 points. He's game high honors along with Q Morrison. First bucket for Stady.
And that's the difference in UGA this season. You've got post players who are rim running, being the first ones down the floor. And if UGA can continue to score at this clip in transition, it takes pressure off the half-court offense, which bodes well for them as they enter SEC play.
Gamecocks now 2 of 7 on their 3-point attempts. Morrison's already hit 1. 9-point lead for the Lady Bulldogs with 5.5 to play here in the half. Stolen by Coombs. Barker went and got the rebound. Stady fouled by Kuimi.
We talked about Jen Stady's improved conditioning, and this is what it allows you to do. One, play more minutes effectively, but also allows you to get down the floor quicker. There she beats everyone down for the easy 2.
I'm not going to say anything about what they're getting ready to do here. I'll wait until she makes.
For those new to our broadcast, my partner has the incredible ability to jinx free throw shooters.
She hasn't missed a free throw this season and still hasn't. So 11-point lead for Georgia.
It's a big opportunity now for Jacksonville State just to get into a set. One thing they worked on a lot today was trying to beat Georgia with the back door. There, unfortunately, they turned it over.
Yep. That'll be turnover number 8 for the Gamecocks.
And so as you mentioned earlier, now we're seeing Q Morrison run the point and get the offense set.
Inside Stady, you heard some skin slap there, and she'll be going to the foul line. But that'll be after our timeout. Lady Bulldogs up by 11 with just under 5 to play here in the first half.
Everything you need to make the holidays feel magical with a little help from HP. When you buy any HP Envy printer this holiday season, get 3 months of free access to Canva Pro and 3 months of free instant ink. Now through January 15th, happy crafting.
Research shows people remember commercials with nostalgia. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance, here's one that'll really take you back.
Wow!
What'd you get, Ryan?
It's customized home insurance from Liberty Mutual.
What does it do, bud?
It customizes our home insurance so we only pay for what we need.
And what did you get, Mike?
I got a bike.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Q Morrison, as we mentioned, off to a great start this season, finally healthy, continuing that run here tonight.
Well, she can score at all 3 levels. She can beat you off the bounce. She's so explosive in the open court to get easy transition points. But what I'm seeing is her just knock it down from deep at such a great percentage, 40% already to this point in the season. Joni Taylor said it was almost like her shoulder should have got injured sooner in her career because she's never seen her shoot the ball so well, and that's carried over to the early part of this season.
Take a look at her numbers so far this season compared to last season, those numbers for the Georgia team. And I know it's a small sample size, but I think it speaks to what Joni Taylor has in a team so far this season, even though we're just through 4 games.
Absolutely. I mean, as many games as we called a year ago, it was a struggle at times to score in the half court. A lot of that was turnovers. And obviously, if you can't turn it over, not only are you not scoring, but I felt like it allowed the opponents to get out and score easily. This year, I feel like UGA's taking, well, they are taking better care of the ball by almost 2 possessions a game. But you see the balance in scoring. You got the inside game of Stady. You've got the outside game. Pretty much of any guard on the floor, it seems like, on any given night.
In the corner, 3 ball is good. That'll be the 3rd 3-pointer for the Gamecocks in this game as Griffin knocks it down. She has 2 of the 3.
And Matt, Jacksonville State came into tonight averaging 13 made threes a game, so not surprised they're able to hit some. The key will be, can they keep up at this clip to stay in the game?
Stady now with 8 points, tying Q Morrison for game-high honors.
And there you saw Jacksonville State trying to get the back door. Unfortunately for them, it got kicked away. And dribble penetration made the UGA defenders suck in, spot up, knock it down by Kiara Griffin.
Lady Bulldogs have outscored Jacksonville State 22-9 since trailing 12-11 with 3 minutes to play in the first quarter.
And Matt, for Jacksonville State, you're seeing them get back in transition. They're doing a good job of trying to slow UGA down, but that means they're really limited in trying to get any kind of second chance opportunities.
Caitlin Hose checks into the ball game for the first time tonight. She and Jacksonville State junior guard Amari Martin were teammates at Hazel Green High School in Alabama. And Amari Martin, who hasn't had a big impact in this ball game so far tonight, is the current OVC Newcomer of the Week.
Well, Hazel Green's a quality program. You're talking about 2 young ladies who helped take that program to the top of the state. And I like what Rick Petrie said about Martin. She knows how to win. JUCO All-American last year. As Jenna Stady just continues to score down low.
Yeah, she's got 10 now, along with 3 rebounds.
Well, and this is where Jacksonville State's gone a little bit smaller. You see, it's a chess match between the 2 head coaches. When he goes bigger, and as you see Kuimi come back in to match up probably better with Stady, it's a matter of when Jacksonville State goes small, they're trying to pull everybody out. When they go small, UGA's pounding the ball inside of Stady, and that's an area of improvement for Jenna Stady this year. I feel like she's so much quicker off the catch before a double team can get to her.
To watch her evolution since she returned to the state of Georgia, started her career at Maryland. She started at West Forsyth High School in the Atlanta area, went to Maryland, came back, just didn't seem like she had a whole lot of confidence when she got here, had to sit out a year. But to watch her evolve and become a premier player in the Southeastern Conference is gratifying. I know it is for Joni Taylor.
Well, if you remember when Jenna first, she was far more comfortable facing up. Would take a lot of 3-point opportunities. I thought she settled sometimes, and this year, to this point, she's made 1 3. She's not forcing it, but she knows she's a low post presence for this ball club. And I mean, I can't say enough about how she elevated her game down the stretch last season, and she's just picked it up from there. The only game in the last 13 she hasn't scored in double digits was at Mercer, and she played very limited minutes in that game.
And Coombs nearly had the steal and couldn't hold on to it.
I like the game plan by Jacksonville State. They're bringing everybody out of the paint area, and they're cutting the guard's back door. Unfortunately, they just haven't had a clean pass yet. And this is new for UGA this season, running a zone out of bounds, very active in it.
Coombs called for the foul. Second team foul on Georgia with under 3 minutes to play here in the first half. And Georgia's starting to pull away, as you might expect they would, against Jacksonville State. But you and I have called these non-conference games where Georgia did not have that killer instinct, for lack of a better words, to take out an opponent they're supposed to. But this, on initial appearances, seems to be a different team than the last couple of years for Georgia, playing with a lot of confidence. Coombs, that's a wild shot. That's the second time she's had one of those wild shots right there.
Well, I mean, let's just, if you think about the last 9 months, for any student athlete,
yeah,
you have your season shortened for the most part. Very uncertain if we would even have a season this year. And Joni Taylor said it numerous times, this group is grateful. They show they have gratitude for the game. They have gratitude for the people who've helped them play this game. And they're just taking advantage of that when they have the opportunity to step on the court. Matt, I just see a different level of focus, effort, and just execution as a whole by the Lady Bulldogs at this point in the season.
Attitude of gratitude is the way Joni Taylor put it. Hawks game high honors for Jacksonville State. She's now got 9 with that free throw right there. 9 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists in 15 minutes. Played at Gainesville, Georgia High School, home of Deshaun Watson, the former Clemson star quarterback and now quarterback of the Houston Texans. They put out some athletes there in that Red Elephants program. That's their nickname. But she's one of 3 Georgia-born players on this Jacksonville State roster. And the aforementioned Amari Martin checks into the ball game, OVC, newcomer of the year, and the former high school teammate of Caitlin Hose.
And so to this point in the game, we're seeing our 3rd player fill that point guard position. Now it's Coombs.
Well, I think the versatility and the statistic that we showed about all the different lineups that they've been able to employ through the first 4 games of the season speaks volumes to the way this Georgia team's going to play this year. And Joni Taylor says so far we've seen teams get worn out in the 4th quarter, and I think that's going to be a very familiar storyline for a lot of Georgia opponents this year.
Well, if you look at the SEC, you've got a team like Missouri who's played small the last couple of years, looking to bring you out. UGA now has a small lineup to defend that, and you don't miss a beat on the offensive end. She can obviously go big if you play a team like Mississippi State. She's got ball handlers out to face a team that might press. She's got shooters for teams that might sit in the zone. For a coach, that's what you're looking for. From night in to night out, do you have different weapons to attack opponents in different ways?
Still getting used to these socially distanced benches.
Well, Joni made a comment today. She was talking about looking for someone on the bench, and she says, sometimes I don't know where somebody's sitting, and it takes her a while, especially if you're on the road, because everyone's setups are slightly different.
But everybody has assigned seating. You're supposed to go to your assigned seat. It's kind of like first grade all over again. You go to your assigned seat. You don't get to choose where you want to sit or who you get to sit by.
You just don't eat the crayons and the glue anymore.
There you go. But maybe the Play-Doh.
But Matt, even when you talk about how spread out teams are on their benches, this is where, again, I think the more veteran teams understand they have to bring their own energy. You can't expect what used to be a capacity crowd to get you energized when you're at home. It is up to you and yourself and your teammates to cheer one another on, to get the focus right, to get the energy right, to try to get a victory.
21-8 quarter for Georgia here in the 2nd quarter as they have pulled away after trailing in the first 7 minutes of the game 12-11. See the Lady Bulldogs, 7 of 18 in the quarter, only 3 buckets for Jacksonville State. And Stady airmailed that one. 12 points, 5 rebounds for Jenna Stady in this half. And she's done that in just 11 minutes. Shot clock off. inside Kuimi, and got fouled on the play by Smith. Kuimi steps up to the line. Gamecocks 1 of 2 on their free throw shooting in this game. And the rebound by Smith. Georgia, final shot opportunity. Coombs hit one at the end of the first quarter. And not so fast at the end of the second quarter. But all in all, a big second quarter for the Lady Bulldogs as they outscore Jacksonville State 21-8. And it's a 41-22 lead for the Lady Dogs in the break.
Dear Best Buy, me and Piggy have been saving up for a long time to get my girlfriend the right laptop. Got any deals?
Sure do. We've got sweet deals on tech every day. I'd get her a Chromebook. Fast, easy to set up, it's a great laptop, even better Best Buy price.
Target acquired. I found the child. Bringing him back to the client now. Hang tight. This is the way.
Bring home the child, animatronic edition, and these other items, new and only from Hasbro.
Hey, y'all! It's time for the SEC Halftime Report. We're breaking into your hoops here from the Wilderness Lodge studios of Marty and McGee, and he's Marty, and I'm McGee, and we're chilling out here in the lodge watching basketball.
Nice to meet y'all.
We're going to talk a little football, and the college football playoff rankings were released on Tuesday night, and Texas A&M is sitting right there on the edge
right
at number 5.
Man.
Chance to break that top 4. Unfortunately, they will not have the opportunity to add to their resume this weekend, as of now. The Ole Miss game was postponed due to COVID-19. Contact tracing at Ole Miss, but yes, there they sit at 7-1. The only loss being to
Roll Tide Roll.
Yeah.
Who is by far and away the best team in the country in my estimation, and I just feel like each week with how potent they are offensively and how far they've come defensively, the way they fly around now sideline to sideline, they've really extended, to me, their rank as the best team in the country. Now, I went on the tweeter machine when Ohio State, Michigan, when the game, which I think will not be played for the first time in 103 years. Is that accurate?
Really, really long time.
More than a century. When that game was postponed, I said, you know what would be amazing? I wish that the Southeastern Conference, the Big Ten, Texas A&M, Ohio State, and the TV networks, which is a big part of this variable, could get together somehow and figure out how Ohio State could play Texas A&M this weekend. Because America wins.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, we're
political, man.
We're talking during a basketball game, and this is a bracket buster. And you can't tell me that you can't do it, because I was just at the best game of 2020 thus far on Saturday night, and BYU, with the less than 72 hours notice, traveled 2,200 miles and sent the boys in the equipment trucks, and they went to Conway, South Carolina, and played Coastal Carolina. So the days of telling me that I have to schedule this game 15 years from now and 20 years from now and the logistics don't work, the logistics aren't the problem. And I've made the drive from Columbus all the way down into like Oklahoma and Texas. You can do it. And so it's the logistics aren't the issue. The issue are the politics. But there sits Ohio State. The Big Ten did vote and discuss the possibility of if they only play the tiny handful of games and don't hit what used to be the minimum of 6 games to play in the Big Ten championship game. It appears now that that more than likely that will be waived and they can play in that Big Ten championship game. So it's
you talk to people in College Station, they feel like our resume stands for itself. It speaks for itself. We lost to the best team in the country. We've beaten everybody else, and we're a very good football team. So I think in College Station, they look at it and go, okay, if we beat Ohio State, we're a clear 4. But the SEC looks at it and says, what do we have to gain?
Right.
What do we have to gain? Because A&M's a really good team. There's a potential now, and this is way down. We don't have enough time to talk about what if Florida were to beat Alabama in the SEC title game.
I don't know, man. Everybody wants to expand the playoff. A bracket buster feels like a chance to kind of do that. And by the way, down in Texas, you know what they love? They love barbecue. They also love barbecue on True South. And here's a little snippet of Wright Thompson's executive-produced masterpiece.
Helen Turner makes her living off wood smoke, from hickory and oak stacked around back. Helen works 2 barely controlled fires. On the left, wood burns down to coals in a cinder block burn box. On the right, shoulders turn brown on a pit. As the coals smolder, they make smoke. Blankets of smoke that smother out light, halos of smoke that follow Helen Turner wherever she goes.
I ain't fit to be no mother. I ain't fit to be no wife, yeah. I've been working like a man, y'all. I've been working all my life, yeah. All my life, y'all. All my life, yeah.
That smoke is her ally. That smoke is also her enemy. It clogs the screens that should let light and air in. It waters her eyes and troubles her breathing. It seeps from the eaves of the pit room, billowing in the air of a blue sky Saturday, shellacking this little restaurant and the people who work here. Walk in the door, and that smoke is what you feel. It drapes you like a cheap suit. Bite into one of her famous shoulder sandwiches, and that smoke is what you taste. True South Brownsville, coming December 10.
I'm hungry.
I love how John T. Edge says restaurant. That's old school right there. Hey, SEC football, you like barbecue? Man, you like football? This is a great day for you. Georgia-Missouri giant game at noon. Kicks off a triple header right here on SEC Network and, of course, on the app.
Dear Best Buy, you think you know your family. Then, boom, 2020 happens.
My dad, he works out to this.
So, my brother Stevie, turns out he's a pretty great cook. Yikes, sometimes. And Mom, she can game.
Oh, we can help. Nintendo Switch for Mom. Power Beats Pro for Dad. Ninja Foodie Air Fryer for Stevie. They'll love them.
Welcome to the AFLAC program.
AFLAC!
Now tell me, what does AFLAC do?
AFLAC pays you money directly to help with unexpected medical bills.
That's right.
Coach!
Yes.
Can I get one of those cool blue blazers?
You know I can't play favorites.
AFLAC
is an official sponsor of the
Back in Athens, Georgia. Happy holidays to your family and the 2020 season. Hope you can enjoy it. Lady Bulldogs on top here at the Stegman Coliseum. 41-22, and yeah, that's just the way it is these days, folks. They got the cleaning crew out here making sure everything is disinfected. Nothing needs to be cleaned up about Jenna Stady's game. She is playing well this season and having another big night.
Confident. She is being explosive on the floor for a 5-player. She is taking what the defense gives her. She gets a rim run in the first quarter for the easy 2, using her body to steal. Easy turnaround jumper because she can feel the defense is going away from it, and that smile says it all. She leads all rebounders and scorers with 6 rebounds and 12 points.
4 of 4 from the line as well, 4 of 8 from the floor. And just having a nice night, no doubt about it. Lady Bulldogs overall shooting 42% from the floor for the game to the Gamecocks 28.
Well, I just like the versatility and balance that UGA has scored. 11 players have suited up and seen action. 10 of those have made it to the scoring column. That just bodes well as they get further and further into the season, into SEC play, that everyone's ready to perform and contribute.
28-10 lead in paint points, Coach. That's to be expected, but Georgia's doing what they're expected to do.
Well, you can be bigger. That doesn't mean you take advantage of it.
That's right.
But I like the fact that UGA has looked to get the ball down low, and the bigs for UGA have responded by finishing at the rim.
So the Lady Bulldogs now just a half away from starting this season 5-0. And before you know it, the SEC schedule will be here. It is now just weeks away with the December 31st opener against Mississippi State here in this building.
It's the way to start it, right? Go
yeah,
big,
I mean,
go big or go home.
Yeah, I know, but you know, we're used to there being this kind of protracted and elongated non-conference schedule, getting ready, and you know, it's just not going to be that way this year. The season started November 25th, and essentially 1 month later you're playing conference basketball.
Well, and not only that, you send your players home for holiday break. You come back and have 1 or 2 final non-conference games. This is going to be very different for all the SEC teams. You come back from break, and ready or not, it's live action.
And ready or not, heck, Jacksonville State's already in conference play, and another conference game scheduled this Saturday against an opponent that already had to postpone once because of COVID.
Yeah, Tennessee Tech and head coach Kim Roseman had their first couple of games unfortunately postponed or canceled. They will tip off Friday night, and then December 13th, Jacksonville State will visit Tennessee Tech for both teams' first conference game.
So starting the third quarter with the Lady Bulldogs on offense in their home white, and out to a big 19-point lead as we start this second half. Gabby Conley has not been called on to have to provide a lot of offense so far tonight. She's taken only 3 shots, made 1 of them, 2 points. This after she went for 28 against Oklahoma in that big victory on Sunday.
But I think you're also seeing the maturity of Gabby Conley. She's not forcing things.
Yeah.
She's just letting the offense come to her, and that's a huge sign for the point guard.
Off the inbounds, Isaacs missed the bunny.
And Matt, to finish that thought, it's a huge sign for Gabby Conley because last year she just had to. She had to put up the shot. She had to try to create offense for this team. This year, we talked about it ad nauseum. You have a number of players who can score, but I also believe the defense is allowing them to get easy scoring opportunities as well.
Q Morrison on the drive, high off the glass, a little bit wild on that shot. That's just the second miss for Q Morrison tonight. She has 8 points.
I would have loved for Q to come on over with her left hand and finish on that left side of the basket. And maybe that's what Q was saying to herself as she was going down the floor.
I should have gone to the left side and finished my left hand.
That's one of those in film tomorrow that I'm sure plenty of coaches will say the exact same thing.
But I'm excited to see Q Morrison if she can stay healthy. There's been a knee, there's been a foot, there's been a shoulder, you know.
Ankle.
Really hopeful that she can get through her senior year totally healthy and just have a chance to finish her career. If indeed it's the end of her career, you know, with the NCAA rules, who knows, but at least have a really strong senior season.
Absolutely, a fan favorite. I mean, you see that smile, it lights up the entire arena. An energy player for UGA throughout her first 3 seasons, but you're seeing the full skill set on display this season as she can score, defend, rebound, and even run the point.
Stady gets her own miss twice, and on the 3rd attempt puts it in. That's your Moses Malone pad your stats. A couple of offensive rebounds and basket.
But that's the advantage UGA has in this game. Jenna Stady just so much taller than the Jacksonville State players.
And Yamaya Johnson, been a quiet night for her. That's just her 2nd bucket.
But so explosive off the bounce as Yamaya Johnson. It was nice to see her get downhill and get to the rim to finish.
Isaacs got fouled on the shot, or did she travel?
Traveled.
Apparently she traveled before she got fouled. Kennedy Gavin just checked in off the bench and came in firing and missed.
I think Gavin has such a huge upside. Physical, strong, can beat you off the bounce, has a nice little 15-foot jumper.
Well, you've already made the point, and I agree with you. I think this Jacksonville State team's going to be really good in the OVC.
And for those who don't know, the OVC has some great teams. Belmont, perennial winner. You saw UT Martin stay hand-in-hand with Louisville this past Sunday. We've mentioned Tennessee Tech. SEMO last year won the league. I mean, just some great basketball, some great coaches and players in the OVC.
Yamiah Johnson on the drive, got fouled on the play by Conley, and so Yamiah Johnson goes to the line for 2 free throws.
And Matt, I gotta believe the offensive execution is gonna be cleaned up in the second half for Jacksonville State because they're in front of their head coach. And here you see Yamiah Johnson just turn the corner. Gabby Conley, unfortunately, couldn't get her shoulders and hips between her on that drive, and that's where Yamiah Johnson's able to draw the foul and get to the free throw line.
Yamiah Johnson out of Lexington, South Carolina, White Knoll High School, a big 5'11" junior guard. Both free throws made. Gamecocks now 3 of 6 at the line tonight.
We're seeing Kennedy Gavin match up with Jenna Stady. Gavin checks in at 5'11" to Jenna Stady 6'4".
Good luck with that. Day the miss, and out of bounds off the Gamecocks. Gavin touched it last.
Unfortunate Day couldn't knock that down because I thought that was a heck of a pass by Hawks.
Neither team has shot the 3 ball extraordinarily well. Jacksonville State now 3 of 12, while Georgia's 3 of 10.
Yeah, and I thought the key for Jacksonville State was they probably needed to stay on average, and that's those 13 threes a game. They needed to stay on average from 3, and they had to be able to knock down some of those mid-range jumpers because I just don't believe they can consistently get to the rim against the bigs of UGA.
Well, what happens with a mid-major team like Jacksonville State when they play a bigger power conference team like Georgia is, they can still hit the 3 ball. They just get sped up so quickly in their offense by the speed of Georgia's defense that they don't get the clean and the settled 3-point looks that typically they're accustomed to.
Well, it's twofold. You want to take the threes. You don't want to take bad threes. You don't want to take the quick threes as you're talking about because those lead to run-outs. And for a team like UGA who wants to get out and run, that leads to easy transition points.
20-point lead for Georgia, approaching the 5-minute mark of this 3rd quarter. Conley takes the 3 and nails it.
And that's a senior. You have the hard hedge by Jacksonville State on the defense jumping out at her. She just takes that extra dribble, squares her feet, knocks it down.
Conley's now scored 6 points in the quarter after scoring only 2 in the first half. Georgia's made 4 of their last 5 buckets. And Bates traveled.
Well, we see it again. UGA's bigs rim running and getting out ahead of Jacksonville State. That time, unfortunately, Mallory Bates just couldn't control it.
And the turnover in the transition offense is something that Coach Taylor can tolerate a little bit more. The thing that she has not been happy about, even though Lady Bulldogs are about to be 5-0 this season, are turnovers in the half-court offense. She says those are the ones we can't afford to make.
Well, those are the ones where, like, if you look at it tonight, they have a height advantage. They have an experience advantage, so you should be able to execute and score. And at the end of the day, turnovers are one of those things that keep coaches up at night because they're just missed opportunities. And Matt, we've worked together long enough that last year it was just the Achilles heel.
Yep.
Almost every game, we were like around 20 almost a game UGA was, which not only took away scoring opportunities for them, but I'll say it again, gave the opponents easy scoring opportunities. This year, doing a better job taking care of it and scoring in the half court as well.
Same spot and same result for Gabby Conley, who now has 9 in the quarter, 11 overall.
I think Jacksonville State's going to have to switch up how they're defending that on-ball screen and go over the top, because that's 2 in a row now for Gabby.
Yeah, she's been wide open. And Q Morrison going for the rebound, got fouled on the play. 24-point lead for Georgia with 4 minutes to play in the quarter. Gabby Conley lighting it up here in the third with 9 points and now has 11.
This is Apple Card. It doesn't sell your information. Every credit card should be this private. Not Apple Card can sell your info to the highest bidder.
Congratulations,
So if your card is not Apple Card, maybe it should be.
Shout out to the leaders and the culture feeders, the dream makers and boundary breakers. Shout out to you and to me, to the future we want to see. Turn it up. Let me hear you say,
Ayo!
we make today.
Knocks it down, but he really got going from the three-point line. Defense went under that on-ball screen. She just elevated it and knocked it down from deep.
Yeah, and great veteran leadership there to recognize they're going under the on-ball screen. I'm going to be open. I'm going to 3.
Well, and Matt, the thing I was really impressed about in shoot-around today is Gabby Conley's always been one of those players that would rather lead by example than be vocal. And I got to tell you, she was one of the main voices that I heard consistently during the shoot-around. And I just think we're seeing the maturation process. We're seeing the confidence from Gabby Conley on full display this season.
Well, Coach, you've been a coach long enough in this business to realize there's that something that happens with a lot of players when they become seniors. And now they got their voice.
Well, I think it's a confidence factor, first of all, because now it's your team. There's not the veterans that you expect to do those little things. And I got to say it again, I think COVID and what happened for the last 9 months has really elevated these young people to grow up quicker than maybe sometimes we thought they should or they wanted to. And Joni Taylor said the same thing. She said they led themselves throughout the summer. We had no contact with them until June. We didn't know what we were going to get, and it was the players leading one another. And when you have that and coaches can just focus on the X and O's, it bodes well for a team, and you should expect good things from them through the season.
And she wanted to be very careful how she said it. She didn't want to make it sound inappropriate in any way, but they found out good things about their team during the pandemic, and I know it's hard to associate anything good with the pandemic, but what they did find out is how committed her players are to being good. And they came back, as you mentioned, on June 22nd, and they were in shape and ready to go.
Well, Joni told us as well, she said, you know, we had a group chat, really for me to stay in touch with them when they were away, you know, from the spring to the summer. And she said, you know, some of it was just fun and guns. You know, I'd poke at them. She goes, but it also let me know what time they were getting up. And she said, you know, first of all, Joni Taylor's a player's coach, first and foremost. Yep. Everyone says it, everyone knows it, true and genuine. But it's sometimes, and this is what you always want from a bad situation like COVID, she and this team have found the silver linings and everything, and you're seeing it pay dividends now as they started to play.
She said her players got creative. You know, gyms were closed, obviously. So in lieu of gyms, they would fill up milk jugs with sand and create their own weights and use those as the weights with which they would train. They'd go find basketball courts where you could play outdoors and played outdoors to try to keep their game going, get in shots. So they were creative. They used their ingenuity and that good University of Georgia education to find a way to stay in shape.
You know, and I've talked to a number of coaches about this. This generation of athlete is used to having a trainer, a strength coach, coaches who tell you what to do to get better. And they didn't have that. I mean, athletes around the country had to fend for themselves. And so that's what I mean by, as bad as it has been, the truly dedicated athletes found a way. And that's what the UGA staff, they saw that their team, that their players were willing to find a way to be successful.
Okay, I can tell you right now, I like Barker. I really love the way that Sarah Ashley Barker plays. Now, she didn't score right there, but she plays with such intensity and fire and determination. She's going to be a fan favorite.
Well, UGA Sports Information Director Trey and I were talking, and he compared her to the great UGA player Ashley House.
Wow.
And I mean, I agree with that 100%. I think Sarah Ashley Barker, not to put any pressure on her, is taller and probably just a slightly better athlete. And so no pressure, Miss Barker, but we're expecting great things from you in a Lady Bulldog uniform.
Yeah, she's a little bit bigger, but to match that comparison, she better be ready to play 37 minutes a game because that's what Ashley House used to do. Hugh Morrison missed up close, and that is Nicholson who got the offensive rebound and was fouled. And Sarah Ashley Barker, freshman of the week in the SEC. What a way to make a debut in your conference, as to earn those honors right off the bat.
Well, I got to appreciate that the SEC office didn't just look at points. Sometimes with these weekly awards, that's what everyone focuses on. And they looked at the well-roundedness of what Sarah Ashley Barker did last week. I can't say it enough. The shot she made against Georgia Tech in overtime last Sunday was huge for them. And honestly, I was just impressed that was a freshman on the floor. We talked about the veteran leadership of this ball club, but Joni Taylor had the faith in the freshman to leave her out there at crunch time.
That's a great point. I mean, not only did she make the shot, the fact that she was even on the floor to take the shot in that pressure situation against a rival in overtime.
Well, she can knock down the three. She has a nice pull-up. She can score at all three levels. She can run your point. Well, we've already seen her attack the offensive glass numerous times and keep the possession alive for UGA tonight.
And she looks strong. She's in no way a frail freshman.
Well, very athletic family that she comes from. Her brother, quarterback on the Alabama football team. Her dad was a former Alabama football player, national champion winner. So the genes are pretty good in that Barker family.
Yeah, showed up ready to play, no doubt about it. 24-point lead for the Lady Dogs, approaching 90 seconds to play in this third quarter. Nicholson falling away.
And Matt Thompson's a player for Jacksonville State that really caught my eye as I was watching film. Quick and explosive with the ball, can create off the bounce, but just as steady. Sets her team up, knows how to get the ball to the right player at the right time for easy scoring opportunities.
Out of Atlanta Douglas High School, the school that produced two of the most famous basketball players on the men's side, and Jarvis and Jonas Hayes.
You're just a wealth of the state of Georgia knowledge. I learned something new every night.
I saw him play in high school. In fact, we televised one of their games in high school way back when. And they, both of them to this day, still talk about it. Shot clock difference of 15 seconds. One on the shot clock. And a shot clock violation gives the Lady Bulldogs the ball for the final 14 seconds of the quarter. But first, we'll have a timeout on the floor. No break. Okay. False alarm. So Lady Bulldogs bring it down the floor. 10 seconds to play in the quarter. A game in which they have been in command since basically the last 3 minutes of the first quarter. Inside Stady at the horn. And Stady, the only 2 points that she scored in the quarter are the last. She's got 16 as we head to the fourth quarter.
Great high-low action by UGA. A little ball reversal. Jordan to Jen Stady. Kisses it nice and in.
This is Apple Card. It doesn't sell your information. Every credit card should be this private. Not Apple Card can sell your info to the highest bidder.
Congratulations,
So if your credit card's not Apple Card, maybe it should be.
This is a dim. The cell means an unheard thing. The shakers and booty shakers. Calling all the lip syncers and out-the-box thinkers. The ones turning the tables and ditching the labels. Paging the climate crusaders, explorers, trailblazers. The ones who make us laugh out loud and the ones who make us proud. To you, to me, to the future we want to see. Let me hear you say,
Hey, yo!
we make today.
Back for the start of the fourth quarter. Lady Bulldogs up by 28 here on Jacksonville State. And Jenna Stady has been rock solid for Georgia to start this season and doing it again tonight, quite frankly.
Well, she has been in double digits. I can't say this enough. 12 of the last 13 games, and that's sometimes difficult for a post player because you're not sure of the touches, but this is where she's been efficient, and she's picked up 21 against Georgia, 12 against ECU, a very fast-paced pressing ECU team, 15 in the big win over Oklahoma, and then already here tonight with a double-double, 16 points, 10 rebounds. Jenna Stady's consistent for the Lady Bulldogs.
Yeah, and Coach, she's got her 16 and 10 in just 15 minutes of work here tonight. She's still averaging less than 20 minutes per game this season. They have not needed her to play more. There will come time later in the season once you get to the SEC, that will change. And the other thing I want to say about Jenna, and you made a great point there with East Carolina playing the four-guard lineup. There was a time when Georgia faced that early on in Jenna's career where they wouldn't have her on the floor. They couldn't have her on the floor in a fast-paced game, but that's changed.
Well, you saw it tonight when Jacksonville State went small, and Jenna still came out to the three-point line. And again, she's learned how to use her size. She might not be the quickest person on the floor, but she's using her length to help defensively. And Matt, you mentioned the point spread right now, but credit Jacksonville State. I mean, that last out of bounds defensively is a great example of this team is well coached. They went over the out of bounds plays there a little late, but was able to deflect it and force UGA to have to set up in the half court.
Isaac going to pass up the three apparently because she's wide open. They're daring her to take it. Stady comes out to get it. And Coombs fast on the rebound, but then lost it.
UGA's done a good job with that high on ball screen defense tonight. You saw Jenna Stady jump out and keep the perimeter player from being able to turn the corner.
Isaacs with the air ball rebound. And Coombs stepped on the baseline. But you look up and down the Georgia roster here, and the 11 players who have played, only 2 have gone in excess of 20 minutes. Morrison's gone 22 and Conley's gone 21. And then outside, we mentioned the 11. Well, 9 of them have played 10 plus, but only 2 have played more than 20. 3 ball.
Well, and I'll take another point for you, or give you another point, Matt. A year ago, this time, 4 games in, it was only like 1 or 2 players who had a positive assist to turnover ratio on the entire team. To this point in the season, before tonight's tip, only 1 player had a negative. Coaches keep up with plus minus in games. It's turnovers, it's rebounds. Have you made a positive impact, divided by your minutes played? And only 1 player on this team didn't have a positive. Again, that's the growth. That's where players are coming on. They know, to your point, they're not going to have to play a lot of minutes, so they're trying to make their impact felt in that short amount of time.
Kuimi had her shot blocked and blocked again. Back-to-back blocks by Stady, who then gets the rebound. That's number 11 for her. We'll see if they give her credit for 2 blocks right there on that one sequence. They do.
It's the home stat team. Of course they do.
And block number 3. So she's now reached her average after playing the first 30-plus minutes of this game without a block. She's picked up 3 in 2.5 minutes.
You want 7 more now? Just get the triple-double.
Get the triple-double. That might be a tall order to ask.
No pun intended.
Ball is out. Georgia basketball.
16 points, 3 blocks, 11 rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds. shooting a little bit under 50% from the floor tonight, 6 of 13, 4 of 4 at the line. But one of the 13 was a 3-ball, so she's, well, I was getting ready to say she's 50% from inside the 3 line, and then she ruined that.
Got to find something to be critical about, don't you, Matt? Jenna ruined that one.
I was trying to set her up. I was trying to give her the assist. I'm setting her up for a big stat line.
And I think Javin, one of these two are definitely going to get Jenna Stady now.
Yep, so Stady comes out, Nicholson comes in, Isaacs comes out, and Bates in. So Georgia obviously has the great luxury of they can sub out double bigs with 2 more. Five misses for the Gamecocks at the foul line tonight on 9 attempts. Yamaya Johnson back in double figures for her 3rd consecutive game. That gives her 12, and she's the game-high scorer for them.
And Matt, I love, and it's a subtle thing that Rick Petrie's been trying to do, but he's been sending a player to the table when they've been at the free throw line after the second one, hoping they'd make so that he could sub and just let his defense get back and get set up. Unfortunately, Jacksonville State has been struggling from the free throw line, but that time it worked to their advantage.
Coombs misses the floater. She's 2 for 7 from the floor. Day had it swiped away by Coombs. 2 steals for Coombs tonight. Conley, 3, and rebound by Day. Lady Dogs 5 of 16 on their threes.
Matt, Jessie Day's been battling for Jacksonville State. Undersized, 7 rebounds on the night, and now she's matched up with Mallory Bates down in the low post.
Yeah, she's had a tough task, no doubt about it. The 7 boards, just 2 points. 0 of 6 on her threes, 1 of 8 overall from the floor, but played 24 minutes.
Well, it's one thing to be conditioned to run up and down. It's another thing to be conditioned to bang, to battle, to try to get around when you're undersized. And that's where I think it's just been a challenge for the Jacksonville State post here this evening.
And you see the frustration on Jessie Day. She's 6 feet. She goes by Bates, and Bates just blocks it anyway. That's frustration right there. 61-39, Lady Bulldogs with under 6 to play here at the Steg.
This is Apple Card. It doesn't sell your information. Every credit card should be this private. Not Apple Card can consider.
Congratulations,
So if your credit card's not Apple Card, maybe it should be.
Hey.
61-39. Just under 6 to play here at Stegman Coliseum. Matt Stewart along with Coach Christy Thomas Cuddy as the Lady Bulldogs are about to go to 5-0 on the season.
It's a fun team to watch. And I know it's still early in the season, but you got 3-point shooters, you got transition game, you got low post players, you got a defensive presence on the floor. I'm excited to see how this team continues to improve and evolve throughout the year.
It's a deep team that can do many different things. They can even shoot well. They can shoot well at the foul line. They can shoot well at the three-point line. I think, as Coach Taylor was pointing out in her conversation with us, is still got to clean up turnovers. It's not been a big issue here tonight, but it will be if they don't clean them up, the turnovers in the half-court offense. But not an issue here tonight for them.
Well, and we're seeing that out-of-bounds, that baseline out-of-bounds defense force another turnover by Jacksonville State. It's just so active. That's what I've been really impressed with by that baseline out-of-bounds defense of UGA. You're not really sure what the opponent's going to do, but they have stayed true to it, very aggressive.
Conley is the only game starter on the floor now. Yamaya Johnson now with 14 points.
If she gets her hips square to that baseline by turning the corner, she's very difficult to contain because she is so explosive off the bounce.
Nicholson is called for the travel, and that's a turnover in the half-court offense. Kind of the things that Coach Taylor would like to see get cleaned up here before they start conference play.
It's just reps. I mean, honestly, it's timing, it's knowing your teammates, and most importantly, it's seeing the defense before you pass.
Griffin lead down to 18 with under 5 to play. And hard to imagine conference play. I'm just doing the math in my head. That's 3 weeks from tomorrow night. So timeout, our final timeout on the floor with Georgia up by 18.
This is Apple Card. It doesn't sell your information. Every credit card should be this private. Not Apple Card can sell your info to the highest bidder.
Congratulations,
So if your credit card's not Apple Card, maybe it should be.
Gabby Conley leading the way as the Lady Bulldogs shooting the 3 tonight. Q got them started early, but Gabby's now hit 3 of the 5 for the Lady Dogs this evening.
Well, and the crazy part is I feel like Gabby had been struggling a little bit from 3 coming into tonight, only hitting 5 of her 21 opportunities. But here this evening, 3 of 6, I'm sorry, yes, 3 of 6 for her team. And it's just a confidence thing. You see the ball go through the net and you see it. She's just getting her hips, her shoulders, and her feet squared. And the rest is just muscle memory to knock it down.
You know, and I think a lot of that is also the decision by Jacksonville State to go under on the ball screen, leave her open. She's had a nice big cushion to shoot that 3, especially in that third quarter when she was knocking them down.
Well, let's face it, Gabby Conley's faced box and one. She's faced straight up man. She's faced denial. She's seen just about all of it in her collegiate career. And so, yeah, it's a little surprising that they're going under, but the other part of it is she can also turn the corner and get to the rim. And so I have to believe that Jacksonville State's decided we're going to make you beat us from deep because UGA came in only averaging 3 made threes a game. And yet here they are tonight with 5.
And all 3 of the 3 that Conley hit came in that third quarter. Takes it to the hole, missed the layup.
And so that's where you pick your poison when it comes to screen on the ball defense. Do you want to make them turn the corner so you chase over? Gabby Conley's very equipped to turn the corner and get to the rim. Or do you want to try to make them beat you from deep so you go under?
Lady Bulldogs have been outscored 10-0 in the quarter. And while there's little threat that Georgia's not going to win this game at this point, I know that Joni Taylor would like to see them finish a little bit stronger than what they've shown so far in this fourth.
Well, every coach obviously wants to win, but they don't play in situations like that. They're not playing scoreboard. They're playing to get the most out of their team. And so right now we've seen more turnovers as she's going to make a substitution and bring Jenna Stady back in. It's just been a lack of focus these last couple of minutes. UGA's gotten a little lax. The execution is lacked, and hence their head coach is not happy.
Bates was called for the foul right there. That's her second. So Stady comes back in with a game-high 16 points and 11 rebounds. Johnson, and the rebound by Coombs. Now Georgia's got their regulars back in there.
And you got Maya Codwell playing, the pseudo 4 position now.
Q Morrison. Q Morrison now 2 of 5 on her 3-point shots. And Yamaya Johnson, her 5th bucket of the game, and she's got 16 to lead the way for the Gamecocks.
And went right at Jenna Stady, going baseline to finish.
Coombs and 1.
Coombs gets the ball on the wing, just one dribble, so explosive, covers all that ground just so effortlessly to get to the rim.
And a nice touch off the glass, too. 1 of 1 at the line, and the Lady Bulldogs continue to be a great free throw shooting team this season. They're 9 of 10.
I jerked when you said that.
Yeah, I
I
know,
was like,
'cause
oh.
you're anticipating that I was going to jinx them right there. But as a team coming into the game, they were at 75.5%. Stady snags another board. That gives her 12.
You know, Matt, the one thing I've noticed, whoever gets that outlet pass, it's usually been 1 to 2 dribbles max before they're getting rid of the ball. Ball always advances quicker off the pass than the bounce, and that's one reason why we're seeing UGA so much more effective in the transition game here this season.
Inside, nice pass from Coombs. 4 assists for Coombs right there, and Stady now has 18. Coach Petrie has called the timeout here. Lady Bulldogs, by the way, have 8 blocks in this game. You saw on a possession ago the block by Maya Caldwell. But Stady's got 3, Bates has 2, Smith has 1, Caldwell has 1, Conley even has 1.
What are you saying? The guards can't get blocks?
I'm just saying they don't typically get many, but they've gotten some here tonight. And a lot of them just like this, where the offensive player goes by them, they think they've got an open look, and because of Georgia's great length defensively, they're able just to reach up and over and get the block.
Well, half the players on UGA's team stand 6 foot or taller. That helps. But that last replay we saw, you're talking about Maya Caldwell at 5'10", and Amari Martin standing at 5'5", challenged her off the bounce. Matt, that's why I always just hung out around the 3 and shot it versus going in there and get my shot blocked.
You don't want to get your shot blocked
exactly.
like that. There's just no fun in that.
First day of college, we went and played pickup at our starting post player. I went in, driving. She didn't even go for the ball. She just knocked me to the floor, and she said, "You'll learn to stay out of here." A three-point shooter was born.
Was that the green wave or the mean wave?
I didn't think of it that way. Toughened me up.
There you go. Taught you a lesson.
Exactly.
That you still hold to this day. Under 2 to go. Georgia up by 21.
I have to believe that last time out by Jacksonville State was just kind of a reset. How do we want to finish this game? How can we grow and improve in the last 10 minutes of the game?
Kuimi. No points for Kuimi tonight, but she's played 21 minutes.
She's given them a low post presence defensively. That last shot, as you pointed out earlier, I just felt like she rushed that. Hey, I'm open, let me shoot it, versus taking the best shot. And that's something for all young players. Can you give up a good shot for a great shot for your team?
Caldwell. That's just the 3rd bucket for her. Gives her 6 in 22 minutes. Also has 5 rebounds. Closing in on the final minute of this ball game as the Lady Bulldogs will improve to 5-0 to begin this 2020-2021 season. And Day, 2nd bucket for her. Lob inside for Stady, and Coombs chases it down. Final 17 seconds. And a foul on Stady. I think, or maybe the other way. Actually, it's going to go against Jacksonville State.
It's getting a little chippy between Kuimi and Jenna Steady down low. Jenna tried to come across the lane. She got bumped pretty good that last possession.
So Georgia doesn't even have to shoot if they don't want to, but they do anyway. Coombs gets another rebound, and a jump ball is going to be called, and the possession arrow favors Georgia with 11 seconds or just under it to go.
Well, Joni Taylor screaming to her team to pull it out. She just pointed to the shot clock saying, it's off, pull it out.
Game is over. We don't have to shoot anymore. And Georgia has defeated Jacksonville State by a final score of 68-47. And the Lady Bulldogs with that horn improved to 5-0. And here in our socially distanced 2020, coaches don't shake hands anymore. They just wave goodbye.
Good win for UGA because it's a win. You never know when your next opportunity to play will be in this crazy year of COVID. But UGA came out and did what they wanted to do. They got balanced scoring. They were able to get more experience for some of the young players. And most importantly, they got the W.
Double-double for Stady, goes for 18 points and 12 rebounds to lead the Lady Dogs to the victory. Also, Conley finished with 11 hit three-pointers in the win for Georgia. 68-47 the final. And now for Coach Christy Thomas-Cuddy and our entire SEC Network team, I'm Matt Stewart. Good night from Athens, where Georgia wins by 21.